in the beginning, in the beginning, I remember being so tired at the end of the day, like because you
Yeah.
speak like. Does that happen to you too?
Yeah, yeah. We were actually with my husband's family this weekend down in Barcelona, and it was amazing. It was so nice, but none of them speak any English. So it's
Okay.
really like a full-on integration French weekend when we're there, which is really cool. Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing that I need at the point
Mm-hmm.
in my learning journey that I'm at. Um, but I get to the end of the day, we had dinner with his mom and his sister the one night, and we were having, we were outside, and there was quite a bit going on around us. And we got to like 9 p.m. and I honestly don't even remember what happened, but someone had clearly asked a question and it was aimed at me. And I just did not even register. Like, I didn't even realize I had switched off so fully. And Bast, my husband, looked at me and he's like, I think it's time that we go home now. And I was like, yeah, I'm like not here anymore. So yeah, I fully relate to the like you get to the end of the day and your brain is just so fried.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, what were you in France for?
yeah. I did my studies in a French high school in Turkey, and then I moved to France for my university. So
Oh, interesting.
actually, I was living in France until 2 years ago, uh, and I kind of miss it dearly. I gotta say,
It's a good place. There's a lot
it's a
of
good
good,
place.
as with anywhere, there's a lot of complicated
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a good place. I'm very happy here.
yeah. Which, well, welcome to the show, Tani. It's
Thank you.
um, I just wanted to start off actually with something related to this. Since we're already in this topic of you being here and like loving here in France, I want to know because you're from South Africa and this is the first time you moved out of the country, if I understand correctly. Um, what this is a question that I've been asked before, and I love this question. Which country or like where do you call home?
Oh, it's such a hard one. To be honest, they both home still.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it gets very confusing because I'm like, oh, I'm going home, or I need to remember to bring this one thing from home back home. And people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, South Africa is my home because my family's there and I grew up there and I am South African and I
Mm-hmm.
am not French.
Mm-hmm.
But France is my home because it's where I've chosen to make my life for now. So it very much has to do with the people for me. It's like I still have people in South Africa, and South Africa will always be my home because of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But France is where I'm choosing to put my roots down for now.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband's from here and his family's here. So, like, it very much has to do with the people that I'm surrounding myself with and where I'm choosing to place my roots. But they're both very much home for me at the moment. Like, I don't consider either more so home than the other.
I see. I see. And I also relate to that. Like, I think for me, it's a bit easier because when I switch languages, then, like, if I'm speaking Turkish, then I say home. But
Mm.
I don't know. As of late, I've been trying to, like, distinguish it a little by saying, okay, my family's home, and then home. I don't know. But, like you
It's a
said,
tricky question. Like
yeah.
it's so hard to define, but I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the people, and like as long as you've got people, like I mean, the cliche saying, the home is where the
Yeah.
heart is." Like
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
cliche, but it's also so true. Like as long as you're with your people,
Hmm.
you can feel at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like France would never have become home so quickly without my husband here. Like it would have always been very foreign and very hard. But because I've got him and he's integrated me into his life here, like, and now I have established my own life through that integration. Like it becomes home very quickly. But yeah, it's a hard question to answer because I very much feel a lot of loyalty to South Africa still. Like it's it will be my birth country forever, and yeah, it's an amazing place. So I feel semi guilty by saying home is France as well,
Mm,
like a slight betrayal of my nationality, but yeah, it is what it is. This is home for now.
yeah. And like you said, for the time being or for the foreseeable future, I guess you're gonna put the roots down in France. And what was the impetus of you moving to France? Was it before you met your husband, or did you meet your husband? Was it at UTMB or?
Yeah, it kind of all happened all at once, honestly. The plan was always to move here at least for a period of time. It was the decision came, I was spending quite a lot of time in France anyway, just because racing it primarily takes place in Europe, at least the type of racing that I'm doing. Um, and traveling back and forth from South Africa was just very expensive and
Mm,
very energy consuming. And I had a work environment that was very supportive of me taking the time to go and spend time in Europe. So I would come here for 2 months at a time. And eventually it got to the point where I was able to mostly support myself entirely through running. Obviously, I
mm-hmm,
had to kind of pull from different buckets and make sure that I had enough. But I managed to like quit my full time job, and
mm-hmm.
the plan was to move here, but I had no real idea of how to do that. So I kind of just came over on a whim. I was like, okay,
Okay.
well, I've got the visa now. I've got the talent visa. It gives me 4 years in France. I'm just going to book a ticket and go and spend some time there. And I had friends who were around the area at the time. So I went and had dinner at their house the one night. And that was the night that I met my husband, now husband.
Okay. Wow.
And it kind of all just happened really quickly from there. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I met him, and yeah, a few months later, I was officially had moved over everything into France. So
Wow.
it all happened very quickly. But the plan, he kind of just expedited the plan. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
move
Mm-hmm.
for him. It was
Yeah.
always it was always what I was trying to do. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he definitely made things move a bit quicker. Um, and I'm so grateful that he was there, because honestly, dealing with French admin would have
Oof.
killed me otherwise.
Oh yeah. No, no, you have to have someone in that understands. Otherwise, like, it's not happening.
Wow. It's like, South Africa is supposedly a third world country, but we have everything's electronic. In
Yeah.
France, no,
Oh,
no, everything is posted with the real posted stamp, and like has to be sent in with the on printed paper. And you're like, what century are we in? What is
yeah.
going on here?
Yeah. I've never bought. I mean, I hadn't owned any stamps or before this, and then like you have to get the specific type of stamps, and you're like, what is happening? Like,
I've never been to the post office so much in my life.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
moved to France, and now it's like I'm there every week.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's funny, and all right. So of course, I do want to talk about these things, but I also wanted to delve a little bit about your running and your background around that, because you did mention the type of running that you do, or the type of races that you do mostly happen around France or in European countries. However, the types of races that you've done have gotten longer and longer.
Mm.
So I want to kind of delve into that, because I've listened to your past interviews and you were really focusing on the 50K distance, or around 50K distance. And you also kind of talked about how there's always this push to do more and more and more.
Mm.
And now you're also doing
I know.
longer distances.
Yeah. I honestly, I feel quite conflicted about it, because I do think like there's so the 50K distance is such an interesting distance, because it's
Hmm.
short and it's fast and it's tactical, and you're kind of dancing on the edge of a cliff the entire time. There's no room for mistakes in a
Hmm.
50K. You have to nail it, otherwise you don't win. And there's something so beautiful about that distance, and I still love it. Like I think I think if the and I say this, maybe not, it's not the entire truth, but I think there's such a push in the running world to step up in that distance, and I like 100% was influenced by that.
Hmm. Hmm.
um I would say the first 100K that I ever did was partly driven by my internal desire to see what I could do in that
Hmm.
distance, but it
Yeah.
was also very much driven by the fact that the trail running world so much celebrates those longer distances,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the draw to that external validation through doing those distances was enticing to me, which
Yeah.
is like a terrible reason to do it. I've realized this now in hindsight. It's a terrible reason to do something, but it was the original reason why I stepped up to that distance, and I was just
Hmm.
looking for the notoriety that comes with doing these longer distances.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, since realized that that's not fulfilling in any way or form, and it does
Mm-hmm.
not lead to success.
Mm-hmm.
But in the process, I have fallen in love with that longer distance. I think it's
I
also,
see.
there's something so, it's just, there's something so beautiful about getting to spend hours and hours just training in the mountains. And like, part of the process of running 100 kilometers really well, or probably further, not that I've ventured that far yet, but part of the process to do those races well and to execute a race well is to just spend time outside. And I think I fell in love with that. The
I see.
50K, obviously, you have to do that too, but it's just not quite as extensive.
Mm.
So yeah, I still think 50K is probably my favorite distance, but
Mm-hmm.
I love the process of training for 100 kilometers, and I've loved discovering what my body can do in those distances.
Mm-hmm.
But also, and I was reflecting on this today actually, like my journey to run that distance, like I started with really low volume. Like my volume is really low in comparison to what other people are doing. And I built up really gradually to, I guess, what some people now and maybe the general population would consider high mileage, like averaging what 130 Ks a week, maybe
Mm-hmm.
in like big training weeks.
Yeah.
Not crazy mileage, nothing wild, but like
Mm-hmm.
pretty high.
Yeah.
But it took me like 4 years in my running journey. So I would say my professional running journey started 2019. My first 100-kilometer week ever was in 2022.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like, I just want to like, I feel like when I say this, I'm just trying to highlight the fact that stepping up too soon is really not good for you. And I think you have to respect the demand on your body that training and racing 100 kilometers or further does require from your body. It's a huge demand. And I took my time to build up to that. So like, I guess my response to that is 50K is amazing. So is
Mm-hmm.
100K, but take your time to get there because
Yeah.
it's no joke. And like, I would say it took me a good 2 years to
Mm-hmm.
recover from my first CCC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mentally, physically, emotionally, like it was just so draining. And like, I just didn't respect the distance in the right way.
I see. Well, actually, there are a few things that you just said which I'd love to delve into, and I don't know where to start, but I think I'm gonna go backwards. So, first of all, you were talking about the physical demands of the training, but also now you just said the mentally also the fact that it drained you so much. It took you 2 years to get like fully recovered. I would love to explore a bit further, like when you're training for a 50K, uh, and then when you're training for 100K, like the amount of time you have to spend outside, like you said, increases so much. Is the mentally draining part coming from that like extensive training, or is it really like the being on during the race that is the mentally draining part?
For me, I guess it can be a combination of both,
Mm-hmm.
um, depending on your motivation. And like if you're super excited about what you're training for and the event and the distance, and no matter what the goal is, like no matter what the distance is, if your motivation's high, those hours that you spend outside, whether it's 5 to, whatever people are running per week, um, that motivation is really the driver. And I think as long as you are super excited about your goal, the mental fatigue doesn't really come from that.
I
For
see.
me, it's very much linked to the stress around races.
Mm,
And particularly with CCC, UTMB week, there's a lot of fluff around
yeah.
the race, which to be honest, I really enjoy. Like I get a lot of energy from that. It's like the excitement from everyone and the passion that's there. It's just like it gives me a lot of energy, but it also means that I give of myself a lot. And at the time, I don't feel it. And it's maybe affected me a little bit last year. But normally I'm fine. Normally it's totally okay. But it does mean that I get to the end of the week and I'm completely dead.
Yeah.
But purely because I've just invested so much of myself into that whole week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, So I feel like that's always my biggest issue with racing, and
Mm,
especially a race where you're, standing at a start line against 20 other women who are of the highest level, probably more now. I feel like CCC this year, the start list is crazy.
Yeah.
So like you've got all these incredible women who could potentially win this race, and the, you know, the emotions are high and you race really hard and like you give everything. So at the end of the day, you're just physically broken, but for me mentally, you've just gone so deep
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you like it takes me forever to get over something like that. um so I think for me that's the biggest part of the mental investment, is really around racing, and it obviously depends on the size of the race. Smaller races require less
Hmm.
uh of yourself.
Hmm.
But yeah, races like UTMB where it's just so stacked, it's
Yeah.
very demanding.
Yeah. And like you said, that week is I got the chance to be there also for three years, I guess. And yeah, I mean, just as a spectator or being on the media side, it is just insane. And so I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how it must be to be in that week where you have the media obligations, you have the brand obligations, and on the side you have the race. I mean, on the side you have the race, which is like
Side
the
project.
side project, you know, just 100K, nothing
Yeah.
but yeah, it's yeah, yeah, it's insane,
Yeah,
really.
it's pretty crazy. But honestly, it's also part of the job. And I think trail running, with it becoming more and more professional,
Hmm.
it's just part of what we have to expect. Like those are the expectations now. And it's fine as long as you protect yourself. And I think that means stepping away from the things that you don't have to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, just making sure you look after yourself in that week.
Yeah. And how are you finding that balance with yourself? Like over the years of, like you said, you've been a professional runner since 2019. So I'm guessing it was a evolution with respect to not only the notoriety that you had, but also the obligations that came around with it. So how are you dealing with that? Like the balancing?
Yeah, to be honest, the notoriety obligations, I mean, I would still say in terms of notoriety, I'm pretty small fish, but like uh, it's still pretty manageable, honestly. But it really only started, I would say, after my OCC win, the year
Yeah.
after that. That was
Yeah.
probably the first time I felt there was a shift in, I'd stand at a start line and people were like, oh, Tony's here. Like, she has a chance to win the race. It was the first time that had happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the first time I really felt the effects of too much pressure and too much media noise was last year at CCC,
Yeah.
and I didn't protect myself from that. And I think that messed with my race in a big way, that I just didn't think about it at the time. But it was the first time I had stood at a start line of a race that big and people were like, she's the favorite, she's going to
Yeah.
win. And I just didn't protect my mental space from that. So yeah, I wouldn't say I've figured out how to do it,
Mm.
to like give myself the space that I need, but I've at least got a good team around me now to help me try to shelter some of the noise.
Hmm. Can you, if you're able to, and if you want to, can you explain a bit like how does that look on the practical side? Like what type of mental training are you doing? Like what kind of coaching are you getting to be able to draw those boundaries?
I think a lot of it has to do with figuring out my upstream reasoning for being there.
Okay.
And um like I said earlier, like I felt like the reason I stepped up to 100K was because of that external validation
Mm.
that I
Yeah.
thought I would get.
Yeah.
And a lot of that media noise feeds into that narrative, that
Mm.
that external, like I'm worthy because people are talking about me.
I see.
And I think digging into my why and understanding the reason I'm there, and understanding my worth outside of that fluff and the noise and the media talking, doing all of their whatever they want to do,
Mm.
it really helps me focus on what's actually important and the people that are important. And it's like establishing my core group of people that I want to surround myself with in race week, because those are the people that actually matter. And those are the people that care about me because I'm me, not because of I'm Tony the runner.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, So that has been something that I'm working on, and it's, yeah, just establishing those people. And I'm very lucky to be surrounded by my Adidas teammates who are incredible, because obviously they're also all going through the same thing. So it's
Yeah.
nice to have that shared experience. Um, and then obviously my partner and my parents and my family, like those are just like making sure that I stay in touch with those people and
Hmm.
stop letting the noise infiltrate my hopeful inner peace.
I see.
We'll see.
So, how was that like last weekend, the weekend before, at Maxi Race for you? Like, were you able to put this into practice?
Maxi Race is it wasn't no, let me rephrase that. It was an important race. It was a very important race
Mm-hmm.
for me, not only because it's at home. This is where I've decided to lay my roots. So having a race at home is so special and being
Hmm.
part of that community. But I feel like the media noise wasn't as intense as
Mm.
UTMB. So
Yeah.
there was less need to protect myself from that.
Hmm.
But also I'm slightly removed from the race village and Annecy Centre. So I'm
Okay.
slightly on the outskirts of the town.
Yeah.
So it was very easy actually to kind of detach myself from the race village and everything that was going on there. Um so yeah, it was actually really okay. And I think this race, I needed this race to go well.
Mm-hmm.
um just because I needed the validation that I can run 100 kilometers after last year's CCC not going
Hmm.
as I wanted it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I very much focused, instead of like the outcome needs to be a win. My outcome was very much, I want to do this because I want to make sure that I can run 100 kilometers and that I enjoy running 100
Okay.
kilometers.
Hmm.
So the goal was really to just have fun. And like, it didn't matter the time, it didn't matter the place, really didn't matter. I just had to get to the finish line and be happy,
Hmm.
as happy as you can be, right? Because you're
Yeah.
obviously exhausted, but like, just have not hated the experience. And I feel like I did that. I feel like I did that. So yeah, it was a successful weekend purely for the reason that I achieved exactly what I needed to achieve in terms of gaining confidence and, yeah, just being excited about running 100Ks again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like, first of all, that the CCC obviously was left a bitter taste in your mouth, a little bit maybe about the distance itself. But I'm so happy to hear that like this one was exactly how you intended to. And yeah, running in your own backyard as well must have been a unique experience. I mean, it's not the first time you're
Mm.
racing in Annecy, but yeah.
Yeah, it was, just to say, like, I think CCC instilled like a fear of the distance for me. Like, I was just scared of the distance.
Hmm.
So this was really like about facing that fear and coming
Okay.
out the other side, having reconciled it with a race that actually goes well, and like
Hmm.
having be a positive
Hmm.
association to the distance. Um, but I think part of the reason I was able to do that was because it was at home and I was
Mm.
surrounded by my friends who like got up at the crack of dawn to be on top of the coal to like cheer me on, and it's 4 a.m. and they're out there with their like headlamps and coffee, and it's just, it was so wholesome, feels like the wrong word, but it was so wholesome. Like, it was just so nice to have my community out there and the extended Annecy community out there, and to feel like I've been accepted into that space. It was the first time I've really felt like that in France, which is, yeah, really nice. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so nice to hear, really. And because I actually got to speak about this with Jess Brazeau as well. And she also, because I also experienced living in France, like I said, and it is not the easiest culture to break into, I think, at times. And I'm not saying this because I lived in 20 different places, but they have a, you know, a reputation, let's say. And
Mm.
so, what do you think allowed you to break into, yeah, the French community?
Time. It's like hammering away at a walnut shell, and you've just got to crack and crack and crack, and eventually it'll open. Um, yeah, a part of it is time, part of it is making the effort to learn the language, part of it
Hmm.
is, effort into the relationships. Mm, I'm not great at like approaching people and forming friendships. Like it's a really difficult thing for me to do. So to do that in a foreign language has just been like the most challenging thing ever for me. Um, but yeah, you have to, like, as long if you want to make friends and you want to be accepted into a space, you have to make that effort. And I think it's taken me 3 years now of putting myself in uncomfortable positions to feel like I'm finally making way with people and like forming solid relationships. So it's really about time and like investment of energy. But yeah, I agree. The French people, and I think they have a bad reputation, which is not wholly fair. I think they're just not like, there's so many countries where people are so forthcomingly friendly and
Mm.
it's not
Yeah.
always genuine. French people, I feel like there's a wall up and they don't just let people in. It's not just, they're not instantly friendly, but they're not unfriendly people
Yeah.
either. You just
Yeah.
need to you just need to invest time into them. And then they're happy to let their walls down. And then they're lovely people. It's just like, it's that initial investment of time
Hmm.
that people need before they let their walls down. And I don't think that makes you an unfriendly person. I just think it's culturally different. So yeah, the French have a bad rep, but I don't think it's entirely fair.
And you said it's not the easiest thing for you to like approach people. And I also heard this was in another podcast that we were just speaking of. Your mom with who did you say it was? The
Elk bezuidenhout.
Yeah, yeah, a South African comedian. And there you said your extroversion, like because I think he said something like, "Oh, you seem very extroverted," and you said, "Well, my extroversion came from my years of being a waitress."
Mm.
And so how do you so were you able to easily do those communications while you were being a waitress, but then being in the outside world, is it like a different context? Is that why it's difficult?
I think so. When it's like I feel like with when you're serving someone, there's almost, it's not a script, but
Mm.
there's expectations of what you need to
Yeah.
offer, and
Yeah.
it's an easy enough thing to do, and it's almost like acting.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I became very good at that, and
Hmm.
I think I I I don't extroverted people gain a lot of energy from being in social settings, and I don't think I'm that person. I think, like I said with UTMB, it's I love being in that setting, but it requires a lot of my energy, and I don't necessarily get socially energized from
I
it.
see.
So
Yeah.
I definitely need time away from that to like, I like
Okay.
my me time.
Yeah.
Um, but it definitely taught me that people are willing, like being in the service industry, it taught me that people are willing to talk to you, and like you can be as weird as you want and people are mostly just going to laugh it off, and like no one's judging you that hard, and it's like it's actually okay. Like it's okay to be a bit quirky and to say something stupid, and like it doesn't matter. um, so it definitely taught me that like I need to take myself way less seriously. I think that was part of my problem, is I always thought that I had to be on the straight and narrow and I had to do things perfectly. In the serving industry, shit happens, and like
Yeah.
you just have to roll with it.
Yeah.
And like it's okay that things don't go perfectly, and people are really understanding actually. Like, I mean, obviously not everyone. Some people can be really not very nice.
Yeah.
Um, but like in general, people are super nice, and yeah, I think everyone should go and be a waitress or a waiter at some point in their lives.
100%.
It's like the most
100%.
valuable life lessons you will ever learn. Um, but yeah, it definitely taught me to take myself way less seriously.
Yeah. And do you think how are you succeeding in that regard with respect to your performances at, at your career? Because I can imagine how, like you also were saying, you needed this win. Well, I understand that you needed this win because you wanted to get over that fear and like reconcile with the distance, like you said.
Mm,
But I can also imagine, especially with the media, uh, the way we talk about the people who are winning in the races, then that becomes like I don't know, the comparison point,
mm,
both externally but also internally, I can imagine. So how does it feel like for you when things don't go your way or don't go the
mm.
way that you expect?
I think in general, I'm pretty good at being flexible
Hmm.
in training. Like
Mm.
I'm I'm very happy to switch things around and fit in my training around life, because I always think, being a coach as well, like I'm very much of the idea that life comes first and training fits around that. Even as a professional athlete, I think, like, if you've got, maybe this is not entirely true. I feel like my husband's going to listen to this and be like, that's not true. You don't mean that. Um, Maybe as a professional athlete, I prioritize training a little bit more than life stuff always. But like, I think there's phases in training, like, there's phases in everything where certain things are more important. But I think flexibility in your training is really important, and being able to be, you know, to adjust things to fit in with life as they come, like, is really important. Potentially less flexible when it comes to racing. I think, especially now that I've reached a level where I feel like I have to perform at a certain level, it yeah, it certainly places a level of expectation that I don't know if I've fully learned how to let go of the idea that I have to win. But at the same time, I'm also working on, like, I'm working on it. I think the idea of perfectionism is something that I've always felt for myself. Like, I felt like I had to be perfect in every way, and letting go of that idea of perfectionism and looking rather towards excellence,
Mm-hmm.
which allows for flexibility, it allows for spontaneity, it allows for making mistakes and making the best of situations. It doesn't require you to be at your best all the time
Mm-hmm.
without fault.
I see.
So yeah, it's like rephrasing that need for perfection into the striving of excellence. And I
Okay.
think trying to go for that is the goal. Um, in practice, it's a lot harder implemented than said, but that is the end goal. And I think I'm getting there. I'm not as fixated on winning as I was when I first started
Mm-hmm.
in the sport. Now it's really about figuring out how I can be my best.
I see. And how, like, this could be as easy as, okay, with the training with mental coaches or whatever, but like, how do you train to implement that? So how do you train to switch from striving for perfection to striving for the excellence? Like, how does that look like in the day to day?
I think it's very much having open, honest conversations, not only with myself, but like debriefing with coaches, debriefing
Mm.
with my partner, like just holding myself accountable to the way that I talk about myself and my
Mm-hmm.
performances and my training. It comes across in small ways, and sometimes I'd speak to my mental coach and he'd be like, "Ah, you did it.
Mm.
That's perfectionism speaking, that's not excellence." And I
Mm.
wouldn't even realize. So it's very much like, the first thing is awareness on, like, how the language that you use when you talk about yourself. And then, yeah, just making sure that you try and catch yourself when that happens, and
I
and
see.
holding yourself accountable to the fact that it's okay, that it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Better start, better do. And if it's not perfect, it's fine. You did it. You
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah.
Try again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I see. I see. And you said that that was something that you always had. So, like, when you were a kid, was that something that you always had as well? Like during early cross country and even before that, maybe?
Yeah, I would say to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
And there were phases in my life where it got worse, and the need for control of everything got worse. Um, but yeah, I think there's a personality type, and if you're super competitive and you like to succeed,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite hard to let go of that
Yeah.
need to be perfect. But I don't. Yeah, I would say yes. I've probably always been like that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah. I see. And I think I wanted to, like, I took note of one thing that you said previously, and I think it's somewhat related to this. Um, because I think because of this tendency to be a perfectionist, I'm guessing you work quite hard, and I mean, obviously, and maybe at times too hard, which could lead to injuries. And you once said, I think it was an interview with Dylan Bowman, that you needed to, or like you appreciate the fact that in France you don't have the perpetual summer, so that
Mm,
you get to, I guess, have that time off.
yeah.
And yeah, how does that feel like for you? Like being able to stop or
Mm.
take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit.
I think that's something that I've had to learn in a big way. Not only like the idea of not living in perpetual summer
Mm.
has been, it was almost the first step in learning how to relax.
Mm.
Um, because I couldn't do my sport to 100%. I had
Yeah.
to cross train. I had to learn to ski and be bad at it and like fail and have my ego bruised. Like I had to learn how to do those things. Um, but I think it's taken me a long time to be okay with being at rest and like not do anything. Like post maxi race, previous me, and probably not even that long ago, I would have been like, okay, I've got to go. I've got to like, I can't take the time off because I've got to
Yeah.
be back training already. Like learning to accept that your body needs time to recover and recuperate. Like it's taken me a long time to figure that out. But also learning that there's phases in the year and like, as like previous coaches have always been like, you can't be at your peak the whole year. You have to have periods where you're not training at 100%. But I
Hmm.
don't think I fully appreciated what that meant and
Mm.
how to implement or like how to follow that in training because
I
obviously
see.
my coaches would give me periods of more recovery, but I would always supplement or do more, Um, uh, so yeah, it's taken me a long time to learn that it's okay to have periods where you're doing 60 Ks a week and supplementing with some bike riding or not, and just like being
Hmm.
okay with that fact. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be crazy mileage all the time,
Yeah.
the whole year.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it's been a long process, and I would go so far as to say that this is the first year that I've successfully r- rested enough.
Hmm. Not to put you on the spot, but could that have been because of the injury as well, a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. The injuries have been my constant companion,
Yeah.
which is super frustrating because a lot of
Yeah.
the time they were silly things. Like the one earlier in this year was really just me. I ran into a pole and the pole, I was then compensating and it caused like a twitch. So it wasn't even a training thing. It was just like stupid. So that was one of them, which is very frustrating. But I've put a lot of effort onto the cross training and the strength training
Hmm.
this year. Um, and I think it's been amazing. It's been completely game changing. And it's not the first time that I've done so much strength training. And I always come out of the end of it and I'm like, that's amazing. I feel great. My body's recovering super well. Um, but yeah, strength training is not my favorite thing. So I need someone
Yeah.
to hold me accountable. And thankfully now I have someone to do that who's amazing. And he's a runner as well. So he's super good and knows exactly what I need to do. But yeah, the injuries definitely played a role in forcing me to take time off and like be okay with it. And I
Yeah.
have to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think here I do want to go into something that perhaps is an open-ended question or a question without a clear answer, but you were talking about how, like, kind of going back, how you wanted to have those closer circles around you in periods like UTMB, where people are with you for who you are and not because runner Tony. And you also said in your documentary Solo, which by the way, it was so vulnerable, and I really appreciate you putting it out there. And there also you were asking yourself the question like, who am I without running?
Mm.
And I'm kind of curious, like whether you got closer to an answer on that over the years.
Jeepers, I haven't watched that documentary. I don't think I ever actually watched that
You
documentary.
should.
um, yeah, that was a hard period. I
Yeah.
mean, for everyone. But
Yeah.
it's a question that I feel like to some degree, yes, I have got a better answer of, who am I outside of running? But at the same time, it is so much of my life
Yeah.
is surrounded by it. And I don't I feel like I'm at peace with the fact that I'm a runner. I am my friends are runners and I'm in the community of runners and I love it. I love it so much. And if I don't have that, it doesn't mean that I have to distance myself from that community. I still get to be a part of that. And like I will find something else to like there will be something else for me and I don't 100% know what that is yet, but I've also got interests outside of the running that I know I could fall back on if I needed to. um so I guess my answer is that I haven't got a clear defined answer of who is Toni without the running, but I've become much more at peace with the idea that for now I am a runner and like that is my a big part of my identity, and without it it doesn't mean that I'm not a runner anymore. It just means that for now that's just not what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but those are still my people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of a vague non-answer, but I guess that's where I'm at with that.
No, but I think it does totally make sense because it's about defining running as like, or being a runner. It's not only the act, like you said, it's about belonging in that community. It's about, I mean, especially because you literally live off of running. So it's like, not only is it a hobby, it's like, it is a big, big chunk of your life. So
Mm.
it's, I think it is a kind of an interesting question because I think when it comes to sports, I don't know if you face this, but I'd be curious if you are. I think sometimes people have, especially with ultra running and like these really long distances, or when it comes to cycling as well, there's a tendency to, from people that are outside of the community, thinking that this is too much. Like it's
Mm.
excessive. It's like not
Mm.
good for you. And maybe that's why people are questioning, like, okay, but what if that is that unhealthy? Like, should you not do it that much? Like, are you something outside of, you know what I mean? Like,
Like, do you have something outside of this crazy thing that you're doing? Because what you're doing is probably not that healthy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, do you deal with that too? Like, do people come to you with those questions?
Probably, but honestly, I not directly. Like I've
Mm.
not had. I mean, from family, yes, who are like, "What are you doing, you crazy child?" Um, my dad definitely still doesn't get it. He's like, "Oh, but why are you running so far? Like your poor body." um, so yeah, obviously, there's people in my life who are like, "What are you doing, you crazy person?" But I think in general, yeah, I haven't had to had like haven't had to deal with too many people questioning that
Mm.
maybe yet. Maybe because I haven't run 100 miles yet. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, no, I haven't had to deal with that. I don't know. I think also part of like my, just to go back to your previous question, I feel like when I was asking myself that in 2020, so much of why I ran was not necessarily built on on a healthy, solid foundation.
Mm.
It at the time it was also a way to manage my weight because I was dealing with like the back end of an eating disorder, and there was definitely not super healthy relationship with running and fitness and like making sure I'm active, and obviously during COVID not being able to move, like my stressed out disordered brain was just not super comfortable with the idea of like not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
So I think there was very much that was linked to why I was asking myself that question. What am I without running? Because I needed the running to help control the way I looked.
Yeah.
But I've I feel so disconnected with that conversation anymore. And I feel I'm so happy that I feel that way now because I feel like my relationship with running and the why I do it is built on such a strong foundation now. It's yeah, it's completely different to what it was back then. So I think maybe that's why I'm more at peace with defining myself as
As
a
a runner.
runner
Mm.
and being okay with that. And like, yeah, that is 90% of who I am right now,
Hmm.
but that's also okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not built on a foundation that's unhealthy, with an unhealthy relationship to myself, the need for excess mileage, the need for more, more, more. Like I feel really at peace with the setup that I have around my training, my nutrition, my community. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a bit of an elaboration on my answer, I guess.
Yeah. No, but that is, first of all, that's so interesting, and I was kind of hoping that we would go there, but at the same time, I didn't want to necessarily. And I'm super curious to perhaps not delve too much deep into the eating disorder part, but I want to understand what helped you get on the other side of it with respect to your relationship with running, especially.
Mm. I think running was both a tool and something that I used as a bit of a crutch for a long
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
So a tool because I am naturally competitive. I did know I had a natural talent in the sport. Um, and part of my recovery meant that I had to fuel enough to do the sport that I wanted to do at the level that I wanted to do it. So it very much was super helpful in helping me get over that fear of eating unhealthily, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I would say I wasn't necessarily afraid of eating, but I was afraid of quote unquote unhealthy
Yeah.
foods.
Yeah.
Um, so I like cut everything out, and it was very much I had like safe foods, and everything else was out of the question. You couldn't
Yeah.
touch it.
Yeah.
So running helped me uh, diversify my diet again, and it really forced me to go, okay, if I want to do well, I have to make sure that I eat enough to make my body strong enough so that I can do well. But at the same time, it was for a long time a way to also control my weight,
Yeah. Yeah.
and diet culture and burning calories when running and looking at your calories burnt after you've done a workout, and like it just became another tool to also
Mm.
track
Yeah.
what I was consuming and burning, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
calories in, calories out, all of that.
Yeah.
So I think eh, it helped me so much, and I think if without it, I would never have recovered the way that I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it took me a long time to understand that my relationship with running was more than control. It was much deeper than the control, and I think it probably took me a couple of years to fully let go of that. And yeah, I'm at a much, much healthier place with my relationship to food, running, weight, all of it
Yeah.
now.
Was that through therapy or? Um.
I want to say yes because I probably should have, but no.
Okay.
um, my partner, honestly, I think um, I lived alone for a long time, and it
Mm-hmm.
allowed me to hold on to habits that were just not particularly helpful or healthy. Um, And when I moved in with my partner, who has a very healthy, very normal relationship with food, and he's French, so there's cheese and bread at every meal, and like things that were super foreign and challenging for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just having someone who has such a normal relationship with food, who could confront me about my obscure like rules,
Mm-hmm.
was crazy helpful.
Yeah.
It was the final thing that I needed to be like, okay, actually, this is not okay, this is not normal. And he helped me deal with a lot of that. I think also just like having people affirm to you that it's okay to look like you look, and it like you can be bigger, smaller, doesn't matter, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
um and also having better role models in the running world, so
Mm.
women who were not tiny, who were strong, and like
Mm-hmm.
people that I could look up to and go, oh wow, like actually it's okay.
Yeah.
Like it's okay if
Yeah.
it's not a stick figure, because I don't actually want to be that person. I want to be like the strong women who are standing at the start lines winning races. Like that's who I want to be like. So it also was very much a role model thing from the outside world, but also so much of an internal, with my partner sitting there
Mm-hmm.
across the dinner table, confronting me about my very strange habits.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And if I'm gonna be honest, um I asked it because of course that's something that I everything that you said, it's 100% what's going through my head. Like the fact of like having running as a thing to help you, but at the same time, like you said, like a tool you use to okay, like kind of justify what you're doing and
Mhm.
like allowing yourself and also with respect to your partner helping you, the same goes with my partner. It's yeah, because living alone, like you said, because it just allows you to keep the momentum going and do whatever it is
Mhm.
that you were doing, whether that's good or bad.
Yeah,
And yeah, when you have someone to say, "Hey, what's up with that?" then
yeah. It's
yeah,
very easy to justify your actions when no one's watching.
100%.
Very, very easy. And as soon
Yeah.
as someone's there, yeah, you have to confront them. And I felt a lot of guilt, I guess, for what I was doing because I knew that I wasn't treating my body in the right way. So it's yeah, super super difficult to confront. It's not an easy thing to go through. So
No. No. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing it, and I'm happy to hear that you're on the other side and you're one of those role models now for hopefully other people who are listening to this, but also who are just seeing you and following you. Because I think, like I said, it's so important that not only not only visually do we see different people, but especially talking about this because I think by at this time of at this day and age, it should be no surprise that this is an existing problem. Um,
yeah,
but still, I think there's a little, maybe not even little, there's still stigma around it. So it's so important to talk about.
huge stigma still. I mean, I look at some of the girls that I see running, and I'm just like, I just want to shake you and be like, you're good. Like you're so perfect as you are. Like you don't need to be doing this to yourself. And it's yeah. I just hope that by talking about it with anyone, everyone. It's why I'm so comfortable talking about it now because I wish that I had had someone speak about it in the way that I speak about it now because it would have helped me just accept and be like, okay, it's fine. Like, anyway, it's yeah, it's a hard topic, but I think the more people that speak about it, the better.
Yeah, 100%. And Tony, I don't want to take up much of your time, much more of your time, even though I would love to talk to you more. But I want to kind of look forward a little bit with respect to now you're in the recovery phase. Obviously, I saw the photos and like you're chill. Uh, so hopefully that goes on for as long as you want it to. But then um, how are you feeling right now, and what do you feel excited to do next?
Mm. Well, the first thing that I'm excited about is our village that I live in is having something called the Dingo Trail. And they're
Okay,
raising money for the local school. So that's a little 10K race that's happening in my village. So I'll be there supporting for that.
nice.
But no, in all seriousness, the main goal for the season is going to be CCC. So I'm going back again to hopefully have a better experience than last year. Um, and I'm feeling really excited for it, honestly. I think last year there was no excitement for the race. It was purely like very much adrenaline driven. I was super high stress. There was no enjoyment in that race at all. So the fact that I'm feeling truly excited and can say that with 100% honesty, I think is a really good position to be starting at. Also, the fact that my body's feeling good and like I've got no injuries post maxi race. So I'm super, super happy. I think I'm feeling like I'm in a good position to have a strong race. Um, but before that, my partner and I are going to be doing something called the Pyramenta Ete,
Oh, yeah.
which is like the classic Pyramenta ski race, which happens in earlier in the year. It's 4 days, crazy ski mountaineering.
Hmm.
Never will be doing that, but I get to
Okay.
do the summer edition. So that's a 3 day event in Areshba for just it's a village maybe an hour away from us.
Hmm.
So we're going to be doing that, and it's a
Hmm.
team race. So we'll
Hmm.
be strapped up together in harnesses and helmets and scrambling across the beautiful Beauforton Mountains, which I'm very excited about, but also kind of scared because I'm not amazing when it comes to super technical exposed trails. So we'll see
Hmm.
how that goes. But that's purely going to be just like a really fun event together. I think I tried to build my season around events that were going to make me happy and
Mm.
excited and fulfilling. And I was really excited about the idea of doing something with my partner. I think that's just really special. Um, and then post CCC, I never plan anything, but there's potential for a Chinese tour of sorts. So I haven't
Okay.
quite decided on the race. Maybe Saigu, maybe Ultra Trail Ninghai.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm very, very drawn to the Asian trail running community at the moment. I think it's just so vibrant, and I love the idea of exploring different cultures and
Yeah.
communities through
Yeah.
running. I think it's the best way to do it. So yeah, there's potential opportunity for something like that. So no, nothing is confirmed, but
Okay.
if it's not this year, at some point in the very near future, I'll be heading over to the Asias to hopefully have a few races there.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. That's nice. And I mean, I can totally tell how excited you feel about CCC this time around, and it's so nice to hear that from you. And like you said, that it makes you happy, that it makes you excited. I think that's really that's really the most important thing. And I think sometimes with the media, yeah, the expectations are too high and whatnot. But the important thing, like we shouldn't lose sight of the important thing, which is
Mm,
enjoyment. And
mm.
yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
happy to hear that.
we do this to to obviously challenge ourselves and, figure out where our limits are. But obviously, it has to be enjoyable as well. Like, otherwise, why do we do this? So, yeah, it's holding on to the enjoyment of the race, everything in the lead up to it. Um, if I can get to the start line feeling as excited as I am now, I think no matter what happens at the event, I will be really happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Tony, and good luck at Pierre Menta Ete as
Yeah,
well.
nailed it. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. We finally made it
Yes, we finally made
happen.
it happen, and hope to see you in Chamonix.
Yes, that'll be amazing. Cool.